Well, I never liked the idea of automatic promotion anyway. Carmichael Daves, HMS Pissville League, has gone to HMS Shit the Bed as the Cobblers stuck the boot in right up Town's backside, subjecting the Terrace to a 3-2 defeat at the Sixfield Stadium. The Cobblers had only scored 11 home games all season. That didn't stop Charity FC, did it? Allowing Hoskins, Eves and Shaw to get on the score sheet. When Town finally woke up and remembered we had to play football, Kane and Hogg pulled goals back, but ultimately it was too little too late. In truth, it only served to paper over the cracks on what was a truly turgid display of football. The first 60 minutes was as horrific a display as, well, last Saturday. Penny for Kevin Nagel's thoughts right now. The big man flew over for 3 games, wanting 9 points from 9 after spending a reported 3 to 4 million this window, only for Town to register nil point. Duff out, bring Wagner home. That's what some are saying on social media. Surely a bit premature, but lose again on Saturday at home to Reading, and Mr. Nagel might have a very difficult decision to make. Welcome to episode 72 of The Sound Social. My name's Nick Barlow. I'll be our jovial host for this evening, and here to join me in tonight's Winch Fest is, as ever, Gaz K, forgetting his cowboy hat tonight, but he's with us back from the dead. Andy K here to bring hopefully a little bit more glass half full positivity. And his ear is there, is every fucking where. The Jonathan Hogg of Huddersfield Town podcasting himself is Ian Kilroy. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for joining us, everybody. As always, get your comments in, get your questions in. We'll do our best to answer them all and try and make sense of what the hell is going on with Huddersfield Town right now. We are running a new feature. If you want to DM us, we'll keep an eye out on X. If you want to DM us and come on the pod tonight, we can get you on. I'm sure a lot of you have things to get off your chest right now, so don't be shy. Come on. If we can do it, anyone can. You can't do much worse than me, let's be honest. So, by all means, DM us. If you want to leave a voice note instead, you can do that as well, and we'll try and get stuff on there. But, guys, let's get straight down to business then. I didn't go to the game. I had something more exciting to watch, like sitting in the garden waiting for the grass to grow. But Gaz, you and Andy went down with the other 1,000-odd Town fans. Big respect to everyone that went down there. My sincere condolences. Let's just have your general thoughts on the team right now and this game, Gaz, because I think it's worth a little rant, mate. But before we do a deep dive and look at the goals individually, let's just get a general sense of how it was in that stand, mate, as that third goal went in.
It was spicy, Nick. I think it's probably the best way to put it. I think the fans were relieved that they'd seen a change at half time. Certainly, people around me were a lot happier. But we rocked up to the ground and I saw the lineup. I couldn't believe my eyes. 7 defensive players against a team that, as you say, scored, less than double figures of goals at home all season. Won 1 in 9, so they were in worse form than we were. Yet somehow we made them look like Barcelona in the first half, and they set the tone right from the off. Big Tom Eves, who every time I've ever seen him play against us, he's been crap. So he decided that Saturday was the day he was actually going to turn up against Huddersfield Town, and he causes no end of problems all day really. And we were lucky really at half time to only be 2 down, because he had a couple of other really good chances to make it 3 and 4. But I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't understand how we can play so poorly for an hour and then suddenly turn it on for 25 to 30 minutes when they feel like it. I guess we'll get on to the manager thing in a bit. Duff out is now really starting to grow some legs in it. Everybody's now on the killer bus with 3-5-2. 5-3-2 is the worst thing you've ever seen. Everybody's on your bus, Kelly. It's only you were going to be right about something eventually, mate, weren't you? It was just a matter of fact before you were. But yeah, it was a crap day. And I listened to his interview afterwards, and he said everything I thought really, which the 2 goals meant no, they really didn't in the context of things. We were beaten up. They worked harder than us. They wanted it more than us. And honestly, I thought they put us to shame. I really do.
Northampton put us to shame. I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful to Northampton, but you look at where they are in the league and the form, and Jesus Christ. And you went as well, mate, didn't you? I mean, I'm amazed more people didn't leave as a third went in. as Gaz said, this finally start to play. But mate, it's easy to play, innit? It's easy to play when there's no pressure, when game's dead and buried, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, how did you see it, mate? Because to me, it looked like no real application. It looked like Northampton wanted it more, and that just can't be allowed to happen, can it? From a team fighting for promotion.
Yeah, we look at our form. Today's Groundhog Day, but yesterday was Groundhog Day because it was just like the previous 2 games have been, lacking in confidence. The hoof ball over the top to Sorensen seemed to be the only way out. That we were passing it back to Chapman and then hoof it over the top. We had the first 10 minutes there. I don't know where you get making them look like Barcelona. When did Barcelona hoof it for 90 minutes, guys? But they were just proper hoof ball, and we couldn't cope with it. And Eves, genuinely one of the worst professional footballers I've ever seen, looked like Zlatan Ibrahimovic against the man that shouldn't have been marking him, Bolker, who's clearly not fit. And it just 10 minutes of hoof ball was okay. We coped with it all right, and then we got back into it, and then this lad smacks it. And you could see as soon as he hit it, because it sort of bent towards me, that it was going in, and Chapman wasn't going to get anywhere in it. And what a strike that was! And you could just see him all just go, "Oh fuck, it's happened again." You know, how many times have we gone behind this season and not been able to get back into a winning position? I don't think we've done it. And you could just see the confidence go. I don't know whether they're just scared to step out of the formation or do something different, but no, just. Really
it was mind-boggling though, Andy, wasn't it? That when he lined that back 3 up, he put Bolker up against that monster. I mean, surely you put Pearson up against him. What he did was left Pearson around the side so he could play the ball out from the back. I mean, what was he thinking?
That makes no sense. That absolutely made no sense to me. That's absolutely Pearson's game. That is having a dust up with a big lad whose arms and elbows are awkward, and there's, you know, fair play to him. That's the best I've ever seen him play, but he didn't have to be very good to still be better than anything that we look like. And the problem that we've got up front is we're trying to get crosses in. Some of the crosses that we got in first half from both Ruskin and Sorensen were just awful. They're either going into goalkeeper's hands or they're going over back at net. And to our strikers who are as tall as me, that's just not going to work. So for me, I'm on the killer train. Absolutely. It's not working.
I'm going to say nothing. I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to sit here for most of this podcast, boys, and just listen. Just listen and just remember pre-season when I called 7th and everyone tweeted me and sent me all sorts of shite saying, "Oh, we beat Peterborough, we're all right, we're fine." And then I felt forced and bullied into apologising myself and saying, "Yeah, okay, we're a bit better than 7th." And now I'm sat here again, U-turning. And that's why I'm everywhere at the moment. That's why I'm Bonnie Blueing, because at the moment it's looking dire. And honestly, halfway through the game, we were getting messages to the Town Social Twitter account, and I were getting some saying, "Oh, boys, you're going to do a live reaction," because when Town are shite, they just want to listen to us whinge about it, and break it down. But just, honestly, I've got so much to say on this one. I have. It's going to take 2 pods to split up what I think is going on and why it's so poor. But going into this, just lost 2 in a row. We've spent mega money on strikers. Kev's come over easy. And generally, before now, when Kev's come over, we've done better. I think this was the first game, this Northampton game, where we faced real pressure this season. We've been on a bad run of form. The pack chasing us have kind of caught us up a bit. We're not really chasing that top 2. And kind of it's the walls are falling in just a little bit. I feel in that Birmingham game, in the post-match presser, Duff were a bit off what he was saying, and that he didn't play this way, and I thought Town did, or whatnot. He said we weren't that bad, and I thought we were. There were just some things I thought, hang on. All right, you're trying to keep morale up in the team here. And then we saw the lineup yesterday, and honestly, boys, I looked at it and I just thought, what the fuck? Honestly, what is this? Why are we starting Bojan? Right, and I understand the decision in that he wants somebody to come deep. Why is Bojan starting? And why is Charles starting when Marshall's been the best striker we've got over the last few games? There's just little things creeping in that I'm finding quite questionable, and I just feel there's a sense of panic in this team at the moment. Not just the playing squad, but everything around it just feels a bit panicky. I don't think it reset after Birmingham, but yesterday was a chance to kind of put it right. But looking at the lineup, like you say, Bolker, apparently one of the best defenders in the Championship, according to some people. He's not even good enough for League One when it comes to physicality, if this is him at full fitness. I think he's got to play away into it and we'll get better, absolutely. But he's not strong enough off the ball in that kind of situation he was in yesterday a couple of times. We'll get onto that later. He's not that guy. Pearson's that guy. You get Pearson doing the dirty work and get Balker playing the balls from wide centre-back positions. Now, none of us are professional managers, but I think we'd all kind of go with that. And I think the general consensus is would go with that. But for some reason, we didn't yesterday. And the only person I honestly think that would have made that decision was Michael Duff, because I don't understand anybody else would have gone with that. I love Michael Duff. I love the way he speaks. I don't like 3-5-2. I've spoken about it because I don't think you can play a full season that way and overachieve unless you're the best team in the division with the best players and you kind of just send as many people forward as possible. You have overlapping centre-backs and you overload and that's how it works. Or you're at the other end of the table scrapping to stay in and you go with a back five and frustrate. I think it works in those two situations. But going into the season, that was my issue with it. We don't score enough goals. We don't look like we're going to score enough goals. The strikers we've got to play in this system don't look like they're the right kind of strikers to play in this system. Yesterday we saw Tom Eaves. Like you say, Andy, saying he's terrible. He's limited. But he fucking made hard work of it for us. He won the game for Northampton for me, just making it awful for us to defend against. Whereas you watch, honestly, if you want to see the biggest, like the opposite of that, it's not even Bojan. Look at Charles, how he jumped for a header. He doesn't throw himself in at all. He tries to back up, let the ball bounce, and then try and get the second ball. We just make it easy for other defenses, but nobody does that for us, and we struggle with it. Never mind how we started. It just looked like nobody wanted to be there. It looked like we panicked. It looked like we were not enjoying the occasion. And okay, it's not, you don't have to enjoy the occasion, but we just didn't turn up. And for a team that's supposed to be chasing the top two, and for a team where you look at the individuals in the squad, and I don't think anybody can say too much about the quality of the individuals because they are very, very good players who've scored goals elsewhere. They've played internationally, or they've done things in better divisions than League One. Yet for some reason, altogether, when there's any sort of pressure, I think they just fall apart. And the panic, I honestly think there's a bit of panic setting in. And the problem I have with this is we saw this happen last year at this time where we tried to correct it in January and it just fell in on itself. And I'm worried looking at it yesterday that same thing's happening a little bit at the moment. Now, again, I love Michael Duff and I've got no doubt that we will bounce back at some point. It's just when that'll be and how resilient we'll be even at that point. We're much better than we were last year. This is not going to be suddenly relegation form, although as of right now, in the last 6 games, we are 21st when it comes to form. This is relegation form over 6 games. That's a fact. You can see there's only one team with fewer points in this. I think it's Crawley, except with 1 point in the last 6 games. And then there's 3 teams with 5 points, of course, that we are one of them. And considering 4 go down, that's where we're grouped with. But just in everything, even before the start of the game yesterday, looked off. And then as soon as it started, oh, come on, Kevin Nolan. What? Honestly, he's not really worked out anywhere else in management. But yesterday, he set up a team to beat us. He looked at Town and he went, right, they played Tamworth a few weeks ago. Tommy Tonks absolutely nailed him with long throw and Dan Creaney wiped the floor with him. So what did they do yesterday? They went long throw from Mitch Pinnock, hitting Tom Eaves, and that's what they played off because he's seen what other teams have done to us. Yet when we go and play other teams, why don't we look at their weaknesses and trying to work a way around it? They did a number on us yesterday in Northampton. Tariq Fosu hadn't played for Northampton recently, but last time he played against us, he ripped as a new one, if you remember. They brought him back in. They had Eaves in the middle as a front 3. They had a fast guy on the left and a fast guy. I think McGinn played a little bit. He shifted a touch, but they had a bit of pace up there, even though they've not been playing in that team recently because Town are weak to it. Nolan adjusted. We have to adjust now because this continued 3-5-2 in the system. It's just not working. It's not working, and it won't work unless we change something. And now is the time. If we want to do something this season, it has to happen now.
The thing, by the way, Clark, I'm not sure whether it clearly is mental, but it did seem for 20, 30 minutes, they just had they'd had a direct instruction to stick it on over the top of Sorensen to get in behind the ball. And he did on a couple of occasions. But the second goal came from a ball to Sorensen, which he didn't win. The guy just pinged it in, and before you know it, we were, Balker decided he was going to have a lay down while Eaves went through on goal. And I was right behind Chapman, and Chapman made it really easy for him. He was only ever going to get a toe on it because Spencer was coming across, and Chapman made it really easy for him. But I think I don't know whether they're absolutely scared to death of Michael Duff ripping him a new one for not following the game plan, because it seemed to be that despite the fact that every blind man on a galloping horse could see dropping it onto Sorensen wasn't working, they persisted with it. And
that's right, guys. That's what I'm with you. I think it looks to me like the team's playing with the shackles on. They look like they're scared of when the ball's turned over, being out of position. So then they're at fault for something happening against us. Whereas like Northampton, I know we're going to go on to it a little bit, but their third goal, they counter-attacked and they just went at it because they sensed we were in trouble and they went. They didn't worry about the defensive abilities afterwards. Like, no, we've got a chance here. Let's go. Whereas with Town, whenever we attack, everything's always in mind of, right, okay, but if we lose this, we've got to be back in shape. We've got to be structured. When we press, we don't send extra men to press it. When you sense they're in trouble, we don't send 2 or 3 just to try and hold him in that corner. We don't do that. And I think it's a fear of if they play out, somebody's out of position and they're going to be held accountable for it. I just wonder if it is that because, like you say, guys, every other team has a go. But when we're having a go, when we win the ball back and try and counter, we slow it down. And it's driving me mental because I don't understand why we're still doing it at this point. Every professional footballer knows how to play that way. That is bread and butter football. But for some reason, when we get the ball on the counter, we don't do it. And I honestly, for the life of me, don't understand why.
But we're not. Yesterday we hardly won the ball. We didn't win any second balls. The first goal came from. If you're not going to win headers against somebody like Eves, you've got to accept if he's on his game, you're going to lose your share. So you've got to make sure that you're set and you win those second balls. We didn't win a second ball. I mean, the first goal came because we weren't anywhere near. I mean, Spencer basically shuffled towards the bloke, went, "Go on then, mate, have a dig," and he did. There was no closing down. There was no energy. I'm trying to get the right word, but there was no energy. He just felt really, really flat. When you play against a team like Northampton, you got to win the battle first, haven't you? And we had no interest in winning the battle. None.
Oh dear. Let's read some comments. Stephen Shepherd, evening, mate. Nice to see you again. Daz, evening, gents. Evening, Daz. Stephen Shepherd, I stuck it in Andy. I don't know if that says I stuck it in Andy or what, Stephen Shepherd.
No.
I don't know what's going on there.
I did meet Stephen, to be fair. I did meet him before the game.
Andy.
He stuck nothing anywhere near me. So I think he means that he stuck it after we went 3-0 down.
Blue Terrier, time for a change of system. 3-5-2 is clearly not working. Well, the thing is, 3-5-2, it works if you've good players, but that's the problem. You've got the right players for the right system, and we don't seem to have that at the moment. 2 things for me. I'm going to have a rant in general about the state of the team and the club, and then I'm going to have a bit of reason in this game and why I think it went wrong. But I don't know, guys. Like I think I must have been a murderer or something in my previous life, and God's fucking punishing me by providing me with this fucking team of empty sacks to support because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of hearing this. Every time there's the slightest little bit of adversity, players shrinking into themselves. They set us up with a few decent performances, and as soon as there's a bad performance or a bit of something goes against them, or a bit of we lose one, and then suddenly that turns into 6, 7, 8 defeats in a row. I'm fucking sick of it, man. Absolutely sick of it. These are supposed to be decent, low-end championship, top-end League One players. This is season after season after season we put with this, and then they're wondering why the atmosphere at home is poor. There's a disconnect between the fans and the team. And this is exactly the reason, mate, because all you want is to go and see 100% effort and commitment. And that were pathetic yesterday. It was awful. That 60 minutes were a joke. There's people paying hard-earned money, over 1,000 fans coming to watch the team, and all they want is effort and commitment. You don't need skill for that. The way that you stand off, it's like you say, it's slow. It's too slow, just scared to make passes, scared to get stuck in, scared to make decisions. What they're scared for? Why are they scared? I don't understand. It's pathetic, mate. I mean, that box of twitching football I talked about is long gone, isn't it? That's far distant memory now, distant dream. And you sat there, you go to home games, you go to away games, you sat there, keep freezing cold. I'm sat there, the box of twitching football's turned to flaccid, mate. Flaccid football. I'm sat there, freezing cold with my shriveled 3-incher. Eating me roast potatoes and brisket gravy, just start thinking to myself, what am I doing here? What am I doing? I'm sat here, leaving my wife and kids at home. I could be doing something constructive at home, having a great time, and I'm sat watching Dross week in, week out. And I tell you what, good luck selling season tickets next season if this is the sort of standard that we're getting used to here. You'll be lucky to get over 9,000 season tickets next season unless they put their ideas up and start showing a bit more commitment. But anyway, I've calmed down a bit after yesterday. I'm a bit pissed off. So you can imagine what I was like yesterday. I've calmed down a bit now, and I'm trying to put some reason behind that utter pathetic performance yesterday. And this 3-5-2, it doesn't work because we're like tortoises. Sorensen looks a complete shadow what he wore at start season. I think he's scared to get injured again. He's not doing any bursting runs, getting in behind. He's a liability for me. Like you said, why we're playing Bolker against Eves there, it said to that. I mean, Duff come out on Radio Leeds in his interview, and I like his honesty in the way that he called the players out and said it ain't good enough. But I don't like this how he says, well, it doesn't matter really about formations and tactics. Yeah, it does. Of course it bloody does. And that, putting Bolker against Eves when Bolker's clearly not fit, is Michael Duff. That's on him. That's not on the players. If he's not physically up to it or he's still injured, why is he putting him against a unit like that when that's sort of Pearson's natural game? The midfield don't work. It's disjointed. Odge, Wiles, not good enough. We're massively missing Kasuma's engine. Why we haven't replaced him in January or got a replacement? Because we know he's going to be out for at least 12 weeks a season. So with injuries, he gets injured all the time. So why are we not bringing in somebody with that same kind of engine and energy that can interchange with him, take a bit of pressure off? Because as soon as he's out the side, the midfield evaporates. We've got two front two who are an average height of 5'7". So as you say, Andy, our entire game plan's getting in, crossing balls into the box. And there's no bugger there. We're not going to win headers against these massive centre backs. So that, again, that's on Duff to me. Why are we not recognising that, mixing it up, playing a different way? But the problem is, we've no wingers other than Karoma can play wide right. We've no real natural wingers at the club. So you struggle to go to 4-3-3 with wide forwards or even 4-4-2. We're so limited. We've completely picked players rigid to this 3-5-2 system. And that's fine if they're really good players with pace that can get past men and whip balls in, and you've got someone tall enough to get on end of them, but we don't. So why have we just recruited solely for this system and not recruited the right type of characters and players for it? And I think as much as Nagel says, Cartwright, he's done an amazing job, he's great, is this, that and the other, I don't know if he's going to start thinking about his words a little bit more now after seeing these three. That's the only positive for me, is that he's come over and watched that utter shite that we've had to endure. And we can say, right, Kev, this is reality now, mate. This is it. This is what we're seeing, what we're going to do. And, Gaz, let's talk about the first. I've finished now, don't worry. Gaz, talk about that first goal, because Hoskins, the ball's wide left. It's a pretty weak header out, straight to, and then puts it into Hoskins. And I don't know if it's wild. I can't work out who it is. The player's jogging towards him, thinking, well, he's so far, he's not going to have a go from there. Oh, he has. Oh, it's gone in. There's no desire to close Hoskins down whatsoever. Now, it's a great finish into corner, but how much time, how much space did he have to get that?
It was Og that was jogging towards him. Og managed to run into the referee as well, managed to bump into the referee. As I say, Spencer sort of did that thing where they shuffled the feet a couple, put his hands behind his back. But didn't really go and close him down, didn't try. But like I say, it pissed me off because, we'd already lost 2 or 3 headers from long throws and set plays already. So, as I say, you're going to lose your share of headers against Eves. I mean, it was criminal, really. The only more criminal was, by the way, somehow Eves didn't get man of the match. They gave it to Hoskins, which I found totally bizarre. But the first, it's a great strike, and you have to say the lads, 99 times out of 100, that goes up and takes another advertising hoarding off that stand for those of us old enough to remember. But it's a great strike and a great finish. But the body language immediately after that was terrible. It was really bad. And the second goal was even worse. Bolker. I don't know what Bolker was doing really. Even if he did kick the ball, he was purely going to kick it against Eves' body. So I don't really know what Bolker was trying to do. And then it was an easy finish. But the one that really got my goat was the third goal, because it was error after error after error after error. Wiles went down, as Wiles does, he does this thing where he sort of falls over and then looks at the referee. Well, the ref waved play on, they weren't a foul. They pinged it down the touchline. Spencer went across and just let the bloke square it inside. It kept going down the wing. He got to Eves. Bolker shuffles over and lets him go backwards again. The guy then comes inside. Hogg doesn't even try and tackle him, just walks alongside him, Pearson, I mean, all what Pearson's doing, Pearson goes to him and says, "Here you go, mate, why don't you go this way onto your stronger foot?" And he very kindly took the invite and smashed it into the bottom corner. You know, when you're in football, Kills played at a much higher level than I ever did. But, you know, the thing was, you know, when you make your first error, if you make an error, you make an error, right? But don't make a second error. And you certainly don't make a third error. And Town made 5 in a row and ended up 3-0 down. And that I was absolutely raging at that point. Because that was an absolute fucking disgrace. Every single one of them should be embarrassed when they watch that goal back on Monday.
Yeah, and there were opportunities for fouls. The thing is, you could tell Town were fucked. You could tell we were in trouble in that moment. As soon as Wiles had gone down, they had overload, they had numbers over. We were panicking, and that's what happens when you counter-attack quickly. This is what Town don't do, which we should do. But the thing is, like you said, guys, you can name 2 or 3 people there that had an opportunity that if they couldn't make the tackle, take the foul, take the tactical foul. You have to do it. And now this isn't dark arts of football. It's just standard football. It's that if you're out of position because you take a foul, and there were too many senior pros that didn't take that opportunity. Pearson showing him onto his left. Honestly, guys, to be fair to Michael Duff, what can he do? What can he do when you've got there? You said about doing that, but look. We need again going into the season. I thought we didn't clear out enough. We've got hangovers of mentalities that we don't need, and next summer it will be gone. It gets tougher because you only get 60% of the revenue you can spend on players, and it makes it harder if you stay down because you've got other 3 teams coming down. But overall, I think next year will be a better team, even with less money, because we can try and get rid of this crap. That doesn't mean we should wave the flag on this season. I'm not saying that at all. But what is happening? Like the first goal, to say Town is so structured off ball, Ruskin doesn't pick anybody up whatsoever on that. So I'm not entirely sure whose man it was. Hoskin, it's an amazing finish, and I don't actually know if you could have stopped it anyway. But no one. Ruskins has got no one at all. If you have a quick look back at the highlights, from what I can see, he's marking nobody. So he's zonal marking. But the problem is they're playing a set piece long throw where, of course, he's going to head it. It was a design play. Hoskins is a striker. He plays as a striker and scores goals. They've taken a long throw where their other strikers headed it to the edge of the box and the other striker smashed it in. That's a design play, and we've got to be better than that. We've got to be prepared, and we're not. We're not. Bolker and Hogg lose out the header there to Eves. That shouldn't have happened to that. You've got 2-on-1. You stop him doing it. He's being put back into middle of the field, and it's a smashing effort. But Ruskins has got to do better. To me, maybe that's why he was taken off so early. I think defensively, we can already see that he's not quite there yet. He's not from England. He's not played in this league before. Of course, it's going to get him a bit of time to get up to speed, and I thought that's what happened there. The second goal, Balker did not want any of that. You knew, I knew, everyone in the stadium knew, and more importantly, Eves knew Balker didn't want that. And that's why he chased him down. As soon as that ball started bouncing through, he was chasing him down, and Balker was all over the place. He didn't look confident. Even if he'd have kicked it, I think it was up in the air anyway. It wasn't particularly going the right direction. It didn't look like he wanted to be in that moment. And the problem is, you need your centre-backs to eat that crap up. They did. They had Jordan Willis playing centre-back. He's a League One journeyman, right? And he looked like the best defender on that field, playing in the midfield back 3 for Northampton. And our boys have come in for mega money. Well, mega money relative to the division we're in, or are on bigger wages than what most other people are in this division. And they look an absolute joke at the moment. And I don't know why, because they're making errors that nobody should make. Honestly, that second goal is one that got me, guys, because it's a one-on-one situation. Professional football comes down to individuals winning their one-on-one battles. Like we talk about Karoma, and I know I don't go on about it a lot of times, but he normally wins his one-on-one battle. He might not play best for the team, but whoever he's marking, whoever the right back is, he normally gets the best of them. Yesterday, for the first 60 minutes, not one Town player got the better of their opponent, and that's what happened. The problem is your centre-backs have to do better than the attackers for most of the game, otherwise you concede goals, and we just didn't. And there wasn't one good centre-back. I'm here now thinking, when's Tom Lee's back? He needs to hurry up because we're in trouble without him. If you'd have told me that a few days ago, I'd have laughed my head off at you, calling you stupid. But this is where we're at, and I just think it's a confidence issue. But that third goal, like you said, guys, when there's opportunities there to take fouls and they don't, I don't know what Michael Duff can do. And I just think the rot is still, it's inherent. It's still kind of there. And if anything is thrown as a little bit of pressure, and now that chasing pack are catching us up, and those top 2 are kind of, well, top 3 with Wrexham are just pushing a little bit further ahead. We find ourselves in this new position, and I think that's what's playing out on the field, because for the 60 minutes where the game was alive, we weren't. we weren't at it.
We need some bastards. Can you imagine that? You remember the reactions that Bolton had the last 10 minutes when they were defending for their lives in that game last Saturday? They're absolutely screaming at their away support to get behind them and all that type of stuff. And people said they went over the top. Not for me. They showed like they gave a shit. Can you imagine anybody on that Town team doing anything like that, showing that they care enough like those guys did? I just can't see it. I think Bolker's trying to do one of his. He does his little sort of swivelly turns, doesn't he? He goes one way and then goes the other, and I think he's just fallen over himself because Eves has put him under pressure. It's depressing. I think we miss Kasuma. I think, was it Joe Caroline's mentioned it earlier on, that we need somebody who can actually carry the ball forward. He can run forward with it. Yeah, Miller's not. We won't see Miller unless we get into sort of April, May time, and potentially the back end of the season, and hopefully the playoffs. So the way we're going at the minute, like Killer says with the form table, we're not looking great for that. We need some character, and Birmingham came in and just wiped everybody out. Obviously, they've got plenty of brass to be able to do that, and that's fine. So anybody that was associated with the relegation went. We've kept a lot of that, and Duff talks about having changed the mentality. But it's quite a brick thing, isn't it, really? There's not a lot of strength there. Well, once we get under adversity, you drop to the level that you've been conditioned to. And we're dropping back to the same sort of body language, the same sort of thought process that we had in that 7 or 8 game run earlier on in the season. You just got to hope that this is going to be a shorter crap run, and then we go back on another one. But, who knows? While ever we're waiting for Kasuma to come back, Ruskins, I thought he'd done his knee, so he was down for quite a bit in the first half, and the way he was banging the floor and everything, I genuinely thought he was done. We'd have to sign yet another left wing back in the 2 days we got left. So I was surprised to see him come back on. So I think he's gone off partly injured and partly because of the need for a reshuffle. But he's going to have to earn his brass this week. Is Mr. Duff. We need to see something different on Saturday. And if we have the usual 10-minute shite start at home, that crowd will turn. I mean, it turned quite quickly on. It was a bit toxic, like Gaz said. He was over the other side, I think, from where I was. I mentioned in our group chat about there were people around me that were proper. When they say everything together, this guy was everything all together. It was ranging from starting a chant to abuse almost in the same breath. But you can understand it, because if they'd have put half as much effort in as he did to being at that game, we'd have won. To tough times, but you just got to hope it's a tiny blip.
It's tough, isn't it, though, right? Because even the Birmingham game at home, we didn't start that bad, I didn't think. I thought the first 30 minutes we were okay. And again, I were in one of the boxes, so we were right behind Jungle. And 30 minutes in, Town fans were all right for 30 minutes. But this is Birmingham that spent mega money. Within 30 minutes, then we got the usual bit of murmuring when Birmingham had another attack. And it started getting toxic. Then it went 0-0. It wasn't even that bad. Yeah. So throwing, like you said, the 3 goals against Northampton, of course, it's going to be awful. But it's just, this makes this next game, like I say, we're jumping ahead a bit here, but Reading, it's another must win. The fans are not happy. And I'm not that person. I'm not the person that stands up on booze. I like football. I like trying to break down why it's working, why it isn't working. I don't really get that passion and that anger the same as some fans seem to get. They just want to win, and why we're not fucking winning. I'm not like that. But you can sense it. A lot of people are like that. And to me, it feels like it's a lot more than usual. I still think we've got that thing where we've dropped down in a division, so we should be beating the teams in this division because we're from a better division. We're bigger than these boys. Unfortunately, we're not anymore. And it's just quite toxic. But I think the thing with it is the players aren't responding well to that. And I don't know if that's something Duff can fix.
I think it is. I was thinking about this earlier. I think some of it is that Town fans, I have to be honest, although we love a whinge, most people are actually rational, reasonable human beings, and they accept the failings and they accept we are what we are and so on. But we had a scenario where we got relegated and we had fans applauding them after they got relegated. And I think people are just getting really fed up with the mediocrity of it all. And I really like Duff. I think he's really honest, and he was really honest in his press conference. You know, you can sort of say, well, what about you, Michael? You blamed everybody else, but what about you? And I do think he stopped the rot. I think he stopped it getting any worse. Has he fixed it, is my question. And probably, I'm not on the evidence, I'm not sure he has. I think we've got better players than most teams, other than perhaps 2 in the league. And that means we're going to win more than our fair share because we've got ability and we've got enough about us to be able to win those games, which is why I think we'll end up in the playoffs. I still think we've got more than enough to finish in the playoffs. But I guess that's the question, really. You know, we've got the second, third biggest budget, certainly probably the second biggest wage bill. I bet our wage bill is bigger than Wrexham's. But we're not delivering a second place team, are we? So, you know, has Duff fixed any of this, or is the results we've had just a consequence of having better players? That's the bit I can't give myself an answer to.
I don't know, Gaz. I think, do we want it enough? Do we believe enough? Do the team believe that they're good enough to be up there? Because you see some sides like your Wrexhams and people say, well, they're so limited and why are they getting all these late goals? But they're getting these late goals because they believe they can get these late goals. And that's the difference between them and us, I think. A lot of it is down to mentality. All we ask as fans is that you give as much passion on that pitch as what the fans give in the stands. And if you do that, you can't really question it. You can you can accept to a degree a lack of quality. You can accept coming up short against a side like your Birmingham's, who are clearly better than us. But what you can't accept is turning up to a team down near the bottom, not putting a shift in and limping away with a defeat and just not looking asked. I mean, Andy, you mentioned about the Bolton game with the togetherness and people say over the top, and I agree with you. I don't think it is over the top. That's what you want. You want the fans 100% behind the team behind the fans, cheering them on, and the manager, and giving it all the over-the-top celebrations, because that builds. I mean, we had the opposite. We had Pearson shushing us, didn't we? We had complete opposite.
We shushed him back, though.
Yeah, but this is it, isn't it? This is what
he got the goal. He were getting. To be fair, there was a little bit of a glimmer of a smile on his face because he knew we were getting it back. But there were a few giving it fucking shushes now, like out loud to him when he were down, when he was defending from corners.
But you're not going to see that at your Wrexhams, at your Wickhams, are you? You're not going to see that. Birmingham were lucky because they had a lot of players out of contract as well. It's easy to shift players who are out of contract. Good luck trying to sift some of our shite that we've got on the books. No one's going to come in and buy some of these. So we'll lumber to an extent. But if we retain any of those players and give them a contract extension, heads have got to roll for me, because we need a complete colour, this squad. Some of the players, I have a lot of respect for. They've given a lot over the years to the club, and I wish them all the best. But sometimes when it's that bad, you've got to just hold your hands up and say, look, we need a change. We need to get as much of a clear out as possible and change things. But do we feel, do you have enough confidence in the people behind the scenes to do it? I mean, we signed all this money. I've no qualms with Kevin Nagel at all. The man's put his hand in his pocket, he's backed us, but half the people we brought in get injured. Dion Charles, I thought, as Freddie Ladapo got a Dion Charles mask and started going on playing, because the bloke looks a shadow of what he used to be at Bolton. He looks nothing like that player at this moment in time. Is it just a case of trying to get into the squad and that? But then why are we playing 2 new strikers, trying to get them to gel when we didn't really need to? Marshall, to me, someone posted a comment saying Marshall has to start. And I absolutely agree with that, because at least he gives 100%. He chases people down. He tries his best. He has scored a few goals for us. I don't know. I really like Duff as a person, but the problem is the football is boring, and you can accept that when we're getting results, and we were scrapping results, and the fans could buy it for a time, but now we're not getting the results either. And at the start of the season, we went on that terrible run, playing rubbish football, getting rubbish results. Now we're a few months down the line, and we're doing exactly the same again. It's just the same cycle, just repeating itself. So has he improved us? Has he improved any of the players over the course of the season? I would argue no. I don't think we look any better at this moment in time than what we did during that run. Yes, we're fifth, but is that because some of the other teams are so off it, are so poor that we, just by the sheer fact of having some of these players, we've managed to get those results? I don't know, but some of it comes from the chairman as well, saying, well, the aim is promotion, promotion, promotion. I've said this before. You say that to the fans, there's always going to be that expectation, regardless of if we've got relegated or not. If you keep beating the drum saying, we are going for it this season, we want to get promoted, we have to get promoted, inevitably, when we're struggling, fans are going to moan because do we need to get promoted for financial reasons? There's that pressure there, isn't there? And I think this is where it stems from. And I honestly don't know from here what he does to address it.
Well, Nagel's quite ruthless, isn't he? If you the physio guy that apparently presided over the raft of hamstring injuries is gone. Bo Berriot, but I can't remember what he was called, but he don't mess about. So I think I've seen similar things on Twitter, but we'll be with him till the end of the season. I can't see him getting rid. But then if we're not up, I think he'll make the call. But who would come in at that stage? I've got no idea. But there's conversations about Cartwright all the time. Into that, I don't know the guy. I'm sure he's trying his best, but he's got to be working with Duff to bring players in. So there's obviously a reason that we've got 4 5'7" strikers. You see them on the inside training videos. You see all those little drills that they do with Patterson late, and the ball's always on the deck. You never see the ball coming in, up in the air when even Duff was crossing it in last week on the video. It's always on the deck. So you can only presume that what the two wing backs are doing is not what Duff is ordering, that it needs to be cut back or pulled back rather than oofed into the goalkeeper's hands every time. So can he change that? Yeah. Will he change it?
The wing backs are never right enough to whip a cross in for a striker that's going to get there anyway. Like there's not even wing backs not doing the job. Strikers out there, they're not there for a quick cross. I just honestly, I think the football's boring. It is fucking boring. And it's fine if you're winning games, but if you're not winning games, people are happy with it. We went to Southampton last year under Worthington, had a good go, got absolutely battered by the end of it. But people were like, yeah, but we had a good go. And I think if the football's exciting, even the Lee Clark when we lost a few games, but it were exciting, no one really complained too much. They did after the 43 unbeaten run when we started playing dire football, a bit similar to kind of this where the fears in. Honestly, I feel like it's like they get this belief where we're the better team, so we just have to. We'll get there in time as long as we don't make any mistakes, and it just stifles creativity and it makes it quite monotonous. But what made me laugh yesterday is we changed it at half time, didn't we, to go to more of a 4-3-3 or 4-4-2. It was a weird kind of system in the second half, and although we did concede very early in that, afterwards we started going a little bit more direct, and we managed to get ourselves somewhat back in the game. The Kane goal was solid, but what I actually quite liked about that was a lateral run from a midfielder across the defensive line and a snapshot. We don't do that. We never do that. That's the first time I've seen it all season. We've done it and scored from it. Second goal, obviously, Johnny Oggs potentially scored goal of the season in a game. Hopefully, none of us will remember. It's an absolutely phenomenal finish from a deflection after an Anthony Evans shite free kick again for the however many time we've seen that this season. But the finish is fantastic. But then after that, we started playing direct football. That's what got me laughing more than anything. It wasn't so much that we got back into it with the 2 goals. It's that we were chasing the goal. We had an opportunity. Bojan should have equalised. He's done really nice work. Cut back in from on his right foot to his left foot. He's 1-on-1 with a goal, and his shot is so tame, and he needs to do some more practice in there. But that came from a long ball. That came from an actual long ball from defence. Bojan actually won the first ball, went back to Marshall, played it around, and worked our way in that way. But then we had another chance right at the end where I can't remember was it Kane again from a long throw from Healy. So we nearly got back into the game at the end by doing the exact things Northampton did. Their first goal was a long throw. The second goal was a long ball Bulk couldn't deal with. The third goal was counter-attacking. The 3 things we need to do. Go a little bit more direct to strikers that can be aggressive. Okay, we don't have the aggressive strikers. Throw the ball in long if it's an asset, because it really caused panics. We saw Tamworth do it to us. We saw Tamworth doing it to Tottenham. When you can't score goals, you have to start looking at these kind of things to find extra ways of winning. But I just don't see it. It's okay saying about passion. I don't care about passion when you're 2-0 up. Anyone can be passionate at 2-0 up. You need to be passionate at 2-0 fucking down. You need to be passionate away from home at Northampton when it's not going your way. And against teams that might be better than you, even Birmingham, they might be better than you. Johnny Ogg had passion on Tuesday night against Birmingham. He was the only one that came off that pitch to me that actually earned the appearance fee that I'm no doubt that he got for it. I thought he was solid in there. And okay, yes, he's got limitations. He's getting older, but at least he's giving it a go. It just feels like not many others have that same effort at the moment. And I don't know. I'm actually lost with it. I don't know what the answer is. I like Duff, but if the squad's better than everyone else's, it's his job to fix it. It's his job to fix the mentality of it. Who made the decision to bring in strikers without bringing in a kind of change, a style striker? I think they're going to be answerable to something. But maybe this is something you look at the end of the season, not now. I think, like I say, blaming people at this point isn't necessarily the right thing to do, because getting rid of him for me is ridiculous. It's ridiculous at this point. We're in contention. The squad is what it's going to be between now and the end of the season. Duff's got to be given the chance to get it sorted. And I'm sure, like you say, guys, I'm with you. I think I'm taking the piss when I'm saying 7th. I still think we'll be okay. I think we'll get absolutely run riot over in the playoffs unless we go into it with some great form, because I don't think this lot, as of today, have any sort of character and ability to go to Bolton or something like that and dig a result out. I don't think they've got that in them. I think these mental frailties, especially with what we saw this weekend. But it's something that has to be looked at if the season ends in failure. But as for now, we've just kind of all got to get on board. But it's hard. It's really hard for fans to get on board when this is what we have to watch every week. They've got to change something, because I think that's what fans want at this point. It's just some sort of change, some sort of acceptance that it's not right, but we're going to try and get it right. Whereas I think what we're all feeling is it's not right, but we're going to still do the same thing. We're going to keep going, and hopefully it'll get right. But the problem is in professional football, it is the most competitive market in the world, because everybody wants to win. It's a cutthroat business, and you have to adapt all the time. Kevin Nolan did, and he taught us a lesson. We've got to adapt.
That's a worry. That's a worry for me, in that are we seeing any kind of adaptation or improvement in the? You see, if the team was improving and we were creating some chances and we were just not quite there, and things were going against us, you could even accept that to a point and say, well, I see what his philosophy is. We're trying to get there. It'll come. A bit like when Wagner, when he first came in, we weren't necessarily getting results, but you could see what he was trying to do. I'm not seeing any improvement. Like you say, I'm just seeing the same thing game after game after game, and it's not working. So at what point does Duff have to hold his hands up and say, you know what, this system where it's just not happening. We've got to change. And that worries me, because I don't think we'll get in the playoffs the way we're playing. We're nowhere near playoff form. Will we pick up again at some point? Probably, but when? We lose the next few games, we're out the playoffs, and then you're competing with 2-3 other sides to try and get in the playoffs, all on better form than us, all with better mentality, no doubt, more togetherness. So Kevin Nagel saying promotion is the aim, playoffs is minimum. So what happens if we don't get in there? What's he going to do? Well, you can't get rid of the entire squad, can you? And the only poor sod that you're going to end up getting rid of is Mr. Duff. And I'm with you. I don't agree with it. I think it's ridiculous. I think you have to eventually, with how many managers have we had, man? You just keep changing manager after manager after manager. We've got to stick with him. We've got to give him chance to get all his ideas across, get all this dross out and have a complete reset. But do I think he'll get that time with the pressures up? I don't think he will. And that's a sad thing for me. I think we'll be going again with some completely different poor sod ready for the.
It was quite strange, Nick. It was quite strange. Kev's been here for a week and a bit, and no one's. Did we get much with him? I think he did one interview with.
He was on Radio Leeds, wasn't he? He was on Radio Leeds before the Birmingham game for an interview and saying he wasn't happy with 4th and we want to finish 2nd. So that feels like a long time ago now when you consider we were even thinking about 2nd. But I think. You look at the league table now, Stockport have jumped above us. Leyton Orient, when we played Leyton Orient at their place, I think they were 20th. And I said at the time, they were probably the best team we played Leyton Orient. I thought they were great on the night and they were unlucky to lose. We managed to score when we needed to score. But, I think he'll get till the end of the season. I just can't see a scenario where blowing him out now adds any value. But I said when we got relegated, this is a graveyard for clubs like ours. if we don't take the opportunity to get promoted, we may well live to regret it, because it'll be a long few years in League One. And the irony is, we could have got a point out of Saturday. We only played for 30 minutes and showed more than enough to probably take a point from the game. You know, if we'd have just done that from the kickoff and pressed their centre line deeper, their centre midfield were crap. We had them on toast once we started playing the ball about and moving the ball. They couldn't cope with our movement and passing. But we waited an hour to do that, to play 30, 40 yards further up the field. That's what drives him mad. And I guess that's the question for Duff is he going to take these lessons, or is he going to continue? He keeps saying, I think you said, Kill, he keeps saying, formations don't matter. Well, if they don't matter, why are you so wedded to 5-3-2 then? If they don't matter, you're completely contradicting it. If they didn't matter, manager would just say, lads, right, you're defenders today and you're strikers, just sort yourself out, lads. You play where you want. It'd be like net terriers, won't it? Who's the defender? I'll play it back. Who wants to play in goal? I'll play in goal. Good lad, thanks, mate. And it would have been, Steve just said, it would have been a robbery. I was just going to say that. I mean, fortunately, our chance to equalise fell to Bojan. So there was absolutely fuck all chance of him putting it away, was there? I think that shows you really that, that's where we are. That guy won't get in another. He wouldn't get in most League One squads, let alone as a starting player. But that's where we are.
That's a frustration, Gaz, though, because he looks good in spells, Bojan. Like, to get to that chance, he did some good play. But then it's just a final execution. If he goes for far post, I think he scores, but he just can powder puff shot. He does all the hard work and then can't hit a barn door, can he? I don't know, mate. I think Blue Terrier says if we don't get a win in our next two, I think Duff will get sacked. Rivethead says, I wonder where we'd have been with Brighton Writer. Probably in League Two, mate. I don't know. We're synergy between him and the team. I think we'd be relegated now. I mean, we're not safe from relegation now. We're only 48 points. We need to get to 50, Andy, pronto. Nah, it's not that bad. But it would have been robbery, Stephen Shepherd. But what I'm going to ask Andy, like, why do we not start games with intensity? Why do we not start games on the front foot? Why are we giving all these sides a leg up in every single game? The odd game you can think, well, it's not. We've just not got out the traps. But it's every game, every fucking game. First half, we look dire. We look like we can't be arsed. And is that the manager? Is it a motivation thing? Is it a players thinking we're better than we are? Is it lethargy? Is it injuries? What the fucking is it? Because I can't remember a first half when we've come out and we've got, right, we'll smash 1 goal, 2 goal. We'll get right in the faces. We'll push them back. Can't think of one. Maybe Stockport when we got that really early goal and then sat back for a stick game. But I can't think of another time where we've come out the blocks firing. Why is that?
I don't think I wouldn't say that it's intentional, but it just seems to me that we've got this. It's the conditioned way that we're going to play, and I don't think it's a particularly, as we've been alluding to, it's not a particularly exciting way of playing. It's very slow. It's very methodical. It's but until we're oofing it to try and get it past their wing back for Sorensen. It just doesn't create any sort of excitement. I mean, Charles made his debut against, who was it? Bolton at home. I don't think he ever touched the ball inside the penalty area. I'm seeing that sort of start. Well, that must mean that the ball's not getting in there for that to be happening, or he's not getting in there. So we must be fanning around with it, sideways and backwards, and all that type of stuff. We seemed a lot more direct earlier on in the season in terms of like there'd be both wing backs would pass it inside and there'd be a little turny roundy thing. I'm sure Killer could tell you what it is from the technical perspective. I don't really know what it is, but there seemed to be a pattern of play where we'd pass it inside and then it'd go back to somebody else on the wing, and then we'd try and get down the outside. But nothing happens. So I don't know. I think it's an element of we don't get excited in the crowd because they're not excited, and then we get a bit grumpy, and then it all sort of builds up, and everything's sort of just meh, innit? Because I think it's going back to the system again. We've complained about this all evening, haven't we, for nearly an hour? But I think I don't think it's attitude, because I don't think he'd tolerate it. It's elite level sport. Yeah, it's League One, but it's pretty much elite level sport. You don't. It's the attitude, it's the mental side of things that gets you there. So I don't think it's that. I think it's the instructions that they've been given that they've got to play. I'd love for somebody to do a little bit of Jink or a Cruyff turn in midfield, like somebody like stick Dean Gorry in this Town team or somebody like that. It would be amazing. But we just haven't got anybody who, Ben Wiles notwithstanding, that can actually do that. It's just when Kane scored, never moved a muscle. When Johnny Ogg scored, never moved a muscle yesterday. It's just meh.
The thing is,
get back in it.
So I listened to Matt Glennon afterwards on Radio Leeds, and he says, I don't really care what they do in garbage time kind of thing. He didn't say those words verbatim, but it was more that once you're 3-0 down, you can play a bit. Because I do get that, but every time we try and chase a team, if we are behind, we actually never concede. We actually do okay. And I just think that's what we have to do, a little bit more chaos football. I don't think we've got individuals that can create that brilliance. So you have to find different ways of doing it. No one's going to dribble around 3 players and pop it in the goal. It's just not going to happen. So you have to just create chaos football, Warnock-style football, to be fair to him, where you find the weaknesses and adjust to it. Like I say, I'm just sick of seeing other teams coming and finding our weaknesses and exploiting it. Us not even trying to find other teams' weaknesses. Or if we are trying, we're awful at it and we're not successful at all. Because I cannot remember a game this year where I've come away from it thinking, oh yeah, their left back was shite and we really went at him down that side. I can't really remember that. And maybe it has happened, but it hasn't. And this is professional football. I think we should be able to notice this, because we can notice Town's own weaknesses, but I struggle to remember anybody else's. And it's one of those things, like with midfields that I talk about, where if it's working, sometimes you don't see why it's working. Just look at the results. It's working. You're winning games. And when it isn't working, you're losing. And that can be why, okay, you change it. It's the same thing with scoring goals and creating chances and stuff, I think. Sometimes you're just like, well, it ain't working. Why? We'll try something different then. It's just doing the same thing over and over again. It's driving me nuts. And Duff's got to stay. I think, for me personally, he'll stay this season, even if we failed in the playoffs. And you give him the beginning of next year to see. I think we need a little bit of, just a bit of structure there. And like you said, guys, I'm with you. I think with Duff, it's like high floor, which means that he's always going to do okay. We're never going to have a team that's going to be embarrassing. We'll always be fine. I'm not saying they're going to overachieve too much based on most people's expectations, but I don't feel like he's a Moore or Brighton writer or anything like that. Nothing like that's going to happen. So that means you can give him a little bit more time to sort it out. But then next year, expect him to start fast. You have to start fast, but just something different, like you say. Those patterns of play, Andy, we saw at the beginning of the season, I can't see them. But the thing is, you can train. And once those 11 boys go out on the field to play, what you said on the sideline beforehand can be there, or it can be in one ear and out of it, and they're back to their own behaviours and own abilities without whatever you've said before. And that's where it seems to be in moments. But then we get a couple of goals behind, we lose the feel. We think, oh, that's good anyway. Let's have a go. We have a go. We look all right. It's just harnessing that. But when it's 0-0 instead, there's got to be something we can do, because the players are good. I think they're good, but we've seen them good. Beginning of the season, we're much better. I just want to see I just want to know where Josh Koroma is. I just need to know where my Josh is, because he's the only one I feel that could have just done something again a little bit different this weekend. But he must be on his way, I think, unless he's injured. I don't think
mate. Quad
was
injury.
Injured.
Yeah,
right,
he said pulled a muscle sitting down.
Was it a bit like Helic's illness? Was it a bit like Helic's illness?
Possibly.
I think that's the issue. That's all I'm worried about.
I don't know, mate. I think we're missing Longvike to a degree, someone that can pass out. I think Ben Wiles, Stephen Shepherd's on about Wiles again. I think the problem is with Wiles, I think he's a great player if he's given the space to create things. I think the problem is when you've got someone like Kasumu in there that's all energy, he'll occupy the rest of the midfield and he'll create space, he'll drag people away. And Wiles needs runners off the ball. He needs energy in there so that he has a bit of a free rein and has the space to get in and just in that pocket of space to create things. And in this midfield, I just think he's stifled, unfortunately. But again, this goes back to why we're relying on Kasumu, who was injured loads. How are we relying on somebody that much to for entire midfield? It's ridiculous. Dean Ball, the kickoff routine massively passing backwards to Chapman to hoof upfield and lose possession pisses me off. Just go forward, get it forward. I love it, Dean. That's it, mate. I don't know. Hoof. Well, Chapman. I mean, a lot calling for Nichols back in. I mean, do we put him at fault for any of these goals? I mean, I don't know. Nichols back in this defence do anything? People saying since Ellick's gone, we've gone to pieces. I'm not sure if it's all down to that myself, but what do we think? Get Nichols back in?
I would personally. I think you need a spark. You've got to find a spark from somewhere. It's not working in defence, and keepers again, like midfields. I think better. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Unfortunately for Chapman, when he first came in, he kept like 5 clean sheets, and it was ridiculous how many clean sheets he kept. We looked good. It was the run started from there, but it's dropped off. I think you need to find an extra spark, and if as Michael Bottomley said, Duff saying there's no more or unlikely to get any more signings in. You've got to find the spark from what you've already got, and Nichols is an option there. And I do think it'd lift us. I really, really do. Never mind the long ball from the kickoffs, though. Whoever said that earlier on. How about against Birmingham, where Chapman were pinging it long, time after time after time to the Birmingham defenders that were like a foot taller than our strikers? I don't ever want to see us go long again from a goalkeeping kick after having to witness that for 45 minutes in that game. But no, Nichols would come straight back in for me. Chapman offered quite a lot initially with distribution. He was really, really good with his distribution. But I think the way we play doesn't even involve that anymore. I don't actually think it's as important now as it was when he was doing it really well for some reason. Nichols, I'd be giving him nod for Saturday, just because I think it'd give the fans a lift as well, and that might help drag the team through a little bit.
I'd agree with that, and then I think Marshall said in the chat, Chapman could have done better for the second, and I agree. I think Nichols was playing. I don't think that second goal goes in. I think Nichols would have been out a lot quicker, and he's a way more imposing figure in those one-on-ones like that. Although Chapman's done really well in one-on-ones, in fairness, but Chapman hesitated, and the bloke he just left it. He was only ever going to toe poke it. So you either stay where you are and pick it up, or you come all the way, and you did neither. So I'd have Nichols back in, and your point's a really good one. I hadn't thought about it like that, Killer, but you're right. We need something, don't we? And Nichols is one of the few genuine championship quality players we've got that's not playing in the team. So why wouldn't you have him back in?
Ironically, I think Sorba Thomas would have been massive on all, wouldn't he? Bit of pace and actually put a decent ball into the box that someone could get on end of, but unfortunately, that's not going to happen. Really, Ed, this league, apart from Birmingham, isn't that competitive in terms of quality, and we've not taken advantage of that. I'd agree. I think it's pretty poor, isn't it? Problem is, we're just as bad, if not worse. So, hey dear, I don't know, lads. I mean, we've got Reading next. They're not bad, are they? Massive. How many times are we going to say must win here? Killer keeps saying it every week, and we keep losing them. But surely this, to me, it worries me because Reading are a good side, pace. It's everything we struggle against. Again, they're gonna get it wide, get in round the back, pace, direct, hit us on counter-attack, and I generally worry about us at the moment. In the mindset we're in, I think we'll lose. And I do worry for Duff. I think the atmosphere will be, say, toxic, but I think fans, they're just had enough, haven't they? We're just all a bit miserable, a bit down. We just need cheering up. Andy, give us some positivity, mate. Give us some hope that we can go into that game and get something, because I'm struggling here, mate.
So am I, though. That's the thing. When you flag me up for being a potentially positive one, I don't know. Maybe we might get surprised by a couple of players coming back. Maybe Kasuma might come back. I don't know. Don't know how far away he is. Longwick, I think, is he out for another couple of weeks? I'm talking to somebody that I used to play football with before the game on Saturday. So surely they should be able to play football now. When you say you're 2 weeks away, what difference is that going to make? What are we going to do with them in between now and if the injury's fixed? The injury's fixed. I don't know enough about it, but we used to play football on a Saturday afternoon and Sunday morning, go out and have a skinful, go to Frontier nightclub in Batley, and then dance around and make fools of ourselves and get up and play brilliantly the morning after. What's up with these lads? Come on, you've got it easy, 1 game a week, and you train for 2 hours. Get yourself sorted out. I'm proper struggling for any sort of positivity. But yeah, definitely just a comment coming out. Be a little bit too careful. Maybe we are. Maybe we're scared of making mistakes, but then we just get gripped by it, don't we? I genuinely thought Ruskins had done something, but I thought Pearce had done something as well. He went down like he'd been shot early in the first half, was all grabbing his knee, then gets up and just jogs away like nothing's happened. So I don't know. That positivity, it's soon the cricket season. What more do you want?
Honestly,
How's that
I've graced the field with both Gaz and Andy. And now, Andy, it was a Saturday afternoon. I'm not entirely sure. Brilliant is what I'd describe any of us for when it comes to playing at any point in our careers, in our so-called footballing careers. But Reading, the thing that annoys me with Reading is they've sold Sam Smith. We thought he were coming to us, but it was Joe Taylor's agent, and everyone got a little bit excited, and we had to calm it down again. Calm it down, boys. And then Reading have lost 3 in a row before Saturday. Okay, they've lost to decent teams. They'd lost to, I think it's Burton. In fact, I can look at the fixtures here. Burton, they'd lost to Leyton Orient, they'd lost to Stockport. 3 teams that are really good. And then they've got Bolton at home yesterday after losing their stride. They beat them, don't they, in 89th minutes. All of a sudden, I thought it was a game where, they're coming out of form. And I know, okay, Charity FC, yeah, we're not great against these boys. Then they got to beat Bolton, and everything's going really well for Bolton, and that just puts a downer on my day as well. And you be positive. I'm happy to sit in my negativity, my negative vibes, because I just think it's going to be another tough one. And like I say, I just feel like if the fans turn on the team because we don't start well enough, it'll go south from there. But we just have to get something done. We have to. So maybe Bojan asks one in early doors, and it just really takes the pressure off. That's how fragile I think we are. We're a good team when things are going well, and we just need a bit of luck to get our noses in front. Because in the last few games, obviously, we've not had our noses in front, and we've not looked at like getting back into it either. I just struggle to see, because I don't think a draw is going to be enough this weekend. I don't think a draw at home to Reading will ease everything else, and it's not just the Reading game, is it? Then you've got to look at all the games we have coming up. And League One, when we say the talent's not great, somebody mentioned it earlier on. The league at Riverhead, the league apart from Birmingham, isn't that competitive. It's not. But I actually think tactically, it's one of the most challenging because players aren't great. Managers have to work out ways to beat you. So every time you're playing somebody, it's a different thing that you've got from the week before. Like we had with Bolton, they played in that entirely new system. Okay, they had a new manager. Northampton have changed their entire system to players. It's really difficult. It's a really complex league to do well in, especially if you're not firing on all cylinders like we are at the moment. And Reading, Lewis Wing in midfield, Harvey Nibbs, they've got some really good players that will cause us problems. Are we going to be able to stand up to Lewis Wing? Honestly, I'm sick of seeing him. I'm sick. How many times have we done all right when he's been playing against us? This is the problem we have now, because I'm falling into this mindset where I don't even think it's about how well we play ourselves. It's if the other team throw too much at us for us to handle, which is a big shift. It's not about how we kind of approach the game. It's all right. Is Lewis Wing going to cause us enough problems that we're not going to be able to adapt? Is Tommy Eaves going to handle our centre-back so well that everybody else falls apart around him? And I think that's a sign of worrying about having a fragile team. And that's where I find myself at the moment looking at Town.
Well, you nicked me. You nicked my notes about that game, actually. They had lost 3 in a row, as you rightly say. The other thing that's worth noticing is their away goals against is the joint worst in the league. So they've conceded 29 goals away from home. So they're going to come. They're going to sit deep. They're going to sit in a low block. They'll take a point all day long. And they're going to say to us, come on then, boys, break us down. And as we well know, we've already seen it multiple times this season. When the baton is passed to us and we've got to make something happen and we've got to open up a team who are sat deep and want to play on the break, we just can't. We just can't and we just don't. So, I dread, I'm with you, I dread to think if it's 0-0 at half time, but honestly, I think it's going to be a struggle. I do. I think it's going to be a struggle. I think it's going to be low scoring. And then you go to Barnsley away, always a sticky place is Oakwell, isn't it? Tough place to go. I would buy some tickets, but our top quality website is down yet again, been trying since yesterday afternoon. So, fucking well played Town. Even if somebody wanted to go to Barnsley after yesterday, they can't buy a fucking ticket. And then we've got Shrewsbury away, which, Shrewsbury are bottom of the league. But, they did a job on Wrexham, didn't they? When Wrexham went to their place, they did a job on them. So, you look at the next 3 games, there's no rollovers in that lot. There really isn't. And it could easily be, out of them 3 games, it could easily be 2 points, 4 points. Never mind 6 or 9. So we need an early goal. You're right, Kelly. We just need a goal from somewhere early doors, don't we? Take the pressure off against Reading, because Reading will have to come out. Once they come out, then we should be able to get in behind them and cause some problems. But Yeah, that's my positive. My point of positivity, Nick, is they let 29 goals in away from home, which is the joint worst in the league. That's the best I can do, I'm afraid.
Thanks, mate. I'm just gonna get mortal drunk, mate. 4 games. That's the only way I can get through them now.
H-Town,
honestly,
20 past 7 in the morning, banging on door at H-Town. Let me in.
I'll be down I'll be down spoons, necking some shots, and I'll go to H-Town and down a few more pints. I might be able to just get through it in one piece. I don't know. I just something tells me it's going to be another one of them games where you're right. They'll sit back and they'll just hit us on counter attack. You know, when we go a goal up, we usually go on to win the game. We have been quite good at controlling games when we're in the lead and seeing it out. But if we go a goal down, we've not come from a goal down to win all season. So if Reading go a goal up early, we might as well all go into H-Town and have a nice bit of food and a pint and watch another game on box, because we're not going to come back and win. And again, it's that as well. It's that constant, like, every time we concede, well, that's it then, isn't it? And we've got to get away from that. We've got to shift that mentality, and I just don't know how we're going to do it. It's still there. For all Duff says he's changed the mentality and we've worked out to change it around. It's still there. It's still the same shit. As soon as we go a goal down, we go to pieces. And Reading are the perfect side to do that. Just sit deep, counter attack, bang, and then it's right. We'll sit in tight. Are you going to create enough? Well, no, because since these 2 strikers have come in, we haven't hardly created out, have we? Which is insane, really. We create so many chances till they come in, and then we stop creating. It's only Town that could do that. I think this will be a defeat. I think Reading will beat us, and then I'm scared to consider what's going to happen as a result of that. I don't know. I mean, I did manage to get some tickets for Barnsley, Gaz. So I'll be going down, hoping, praying to whatever God that we at least make a fist of it, you know, because I just feel sorry for fans that travel. You know, I can't get to as many games as I like, but there's fans that go every week in, week out, spending a fortune going up and down the country, freezing weather, and I just want it for them as much as I want the team to show up, and it'd be amazing just to have one good season where we smash it and got top 2 and just. But it's just not going to happen, is it? So yeah, I don't know. I mean, as long as it's more interesting than Great Pottery Throwdown, Gaz. I know I riled you with that comment, mate. I'm going to bring it up again, mate, just because I just like winding you up, mate. I've never actually seen it, mate, so I'll apologise. I'll apologise to you for that.
Well, listen, you want to watch him, the skill that's involved in that, so it's absolutely mind-blowing. Big Keith, when he starts crying, I end up crying with him. It's emotional stuff, mate. You should watch
it. Telling it. It's what old man look. Repair shop as well. Let's get in there.
Junior Bake-Off's the other one. And if anybody's looking for a program, watch it. Harry Hill presents it. It's absolutely fantastic. This is where I am in my life.
Mate, this is why I've got to go and hang around with Cozzy and Matt every now and again on another podcast, boys. You guys are just dragging me down. You just eating away at my rep. Sorry, lads.
Yeah, Cozzy's now taken to pushing people down hills in shopping trolleys. What's that all about?
That was ages ago, wasn't it?
Was it? All right. Was it a repeat? Yeah. He didn't put that in his repeat, He didn't put that in his post. He made out it was on Saturday.
It's a repeat. Is that's classic?
Right, fair enough.
Mate, I watch RuPaul's Drag Race, so you know you can readily dismiss me as an authority on anything TV. But on that note, guys, I think we'll leave it there. Listen, let's hope that we do something against Reading for the sake of all our mental health. But it's been a tough pod. This, you know, we've tried to bring a bit of humour in and keep it light, but it's pretty dire at the moment. Stephen Shepherd says we're still in the playoffs. Could be worse. It could, mate. It could. The problem is it probably will be worse. But let's not think about it. Who knows? We might turn it round, but. Oh, Aidan said, what's your thoughts on Town fans wanting Duff out? I'm 50-50. Well, yeah, I think that, mate, I think it's desperation as much as I think we're all feeling it out. The thing is, like, people will come on from the outside and call us a load of whingers moaning. Oh, we love moaning. We love being negative. And it's not that. It's because we care. It's because we want the team to do well. And I think when you've seen them so bad and the performance is so bad, desperation starts creeping in. And this is where the Wagner in starts coming from, because that's about that togetherness that we're, you know, even though we're okay, we're in the playoffs, there's no synergy there. And I think people are just a bit desperate at the moment, and that's where that's coming from. I'm not a duff out personally. I think we can't just keep chopping and changing managers left, right, and centre. Andy, I mean, what do you reckon, mate? Do you think we see it out for the season, give him a proper pre-season?
100% end of the season. I mean, he's had success in this division before. He seems like a decent bloke. He doesn't take any shit. Maybe he's a bit scary. Maybe that's part of the problem. But we've chopped and changed so much. We have become an absolute basket case of a club with the number of managers we've had. So we've got to stick with him. And then we either go, right, we either change him and the players, or just change the players. There's revolution coming at the end of the year. It's a matter of how many people are in it. But I'm duffing. It just makes no sense to me. Who's available? Wagner would be reminiscent, marvellous for him to wave to Cowshed Lyle and everybody when he came back. And then the minute we go 1-0 down, negativity. So, but that would only last as long as we won a game. So, no, sorry. Much as I love David Wagner, no, he's not the right man.
Ian?
Just give it. I'm out of work in the summer. I'm adding my notice in. Grangemore, we're gonna win everything this season. We're gonna take 3 trophies. Although we lost this weekend for the first defeat we won 16 in a row and lost this weekend. Dodgy refereeing decisions, obviously, and not enough tracking back, which we shall be working on in our non-existent training this week. So via the WhatsApp messaging, we'll just go through that and try and sort out our shit. I'm available in the summer, so I'll come and help if anyone needs it. But no, Duff. It's just got to give him time. I don't like 3-5-2. I'm against everything about the way we Town play at the moment. But that said, we've put our chips in that kind of basket, and we have to go with it. We have to go with it and give him enough time to try and rectify it. He's a guy that speaks sense. He resonates well with fans. As long as he doesn't go down the way it went at Swansea, he got a bit fiery at that point once things didn't kind of go too well. As long as that doesn't happen, I think he's got to see where we're at the end of this season. And anything but a miraculous drop off from now until then would give me enough confidence in giving him beginning of next year and seeing how that goes. I think that's because who wants to come to us? Like you say, we're a basket case. We've got rid of managers here, there, and everywhere. There aren't that many going to be lining up for us to come in. No one's going to leave a solid job where they've overperformed in League Two to come to us. It's going to be hard for us to persuade them to come over to us. So you're kind of like, well, what do you have to do? I think we just have to sit and see how it goes for between now and maybe October, November, to see what it's like at that point.
That's just reminded me of a conversation I had with somebody who is on a management team at another League One club who confirmed exactly that perception of us as a club. That's reminded me of a conversation I've had, not particularly recently, but scared about the prospect of what if you do go to that club, what happens? So if that person thinks it, then other people think it. So we've got a bit of work to do, I think, to if we do end up getting rid of Duff, we'd have some hell of a PR job to do for recruiting somebody new in, because it's a tough job, and that's the perception of it.
Bring Mark Fotheringham back just for shits and giggles. Gaz, what do you reckon?
In.
Yeah, I agree. He's got to be given time, hasn't he? It's not fair.
Well, I love Wagner. I mean, you can see me thing here. You know, I not only did I love what he did for the club, but you know, those first 80, that mentality is a metaphor for life. That metaphor, that mentality that he had for Huddersfield Town. But I'm with you, man. It's better to have loved than lost and all that. I'm not sure second time round it's going to be anything like the first. So I'd rather live with the memories. Thanks.
SUV, we need someone like Bergzorg to get the fans going a bit. I'd take fucking Neil Trotman at this moment in time. Right, and on that cheery note, guys, thank you, Andy K, Ian Kilroy, Gasgate, thank you, gents, as always. Thank you, everybody, for all your comments. If you can, subscribe on YouTube and Spotify. That would be a massive help for the show. But as always, thank you very much for your support. Thanks for all your comments and questions. If you want to DM us, as I said on X, send us a DM if you want to come on the pod. We don't bite, apart from Gaz. So, feel free to message us and you can come on, share your thoughts, or leave us some voice notes. If you don't feel like coming on live, you can drop us a voice note and we'll we'll put it on there like we did in the last episode. But here's hoping for a result against Reading, although I doubt it. And we'll be back afterwards to pick up the pieces. Take care, everyone. See you soon. Up the town.
Up the town.